One of the undesirable work habits, I'm sure you can relate to it, is also people have a tendency to put away things that they don't like to do. That's procrastination. Okay. That's the mother of all bad work habits, really. Okay, they procrastinate. And when you give them things to do, they either don't know how to do, they don't like to do it, or really, they just find that, this inertia of getting it started. So that's one of the bad work habits. And because of that, it's actually creating a domino effect, which means it can actually affect on someone else's not being able to accomplish their work as well. Because it's a domino effect. If you sit on that pile of work, and then your other colleagues have to follow up with it, it does affect his work efficiency as well. Okay? The other bad work habit is also in the area of multiple handling. And that's where people have the tendency of taking things out from their inbox, right? Looking at it and putting it back in the inbox. Or opening up their, emails, read the emails and leave it in the inbox, right? Or perhaps, you call up someone and you notice that voice box is full, you can't get anything, you can't leave a message for that person. You leave an email, send an email and bounce back saying the email box is full. Have you encountered that before? So that is also another bad work habit. So we also have people who have another bad work habit, and that's distraction. They leave things undone. So they get distracted when they have to look at something or do something. Suddenly, something inside tells them, I've forgotten to do something else. And then they jump up and start doing, thing that's actually bothering them in their mind. And they left something that they have started undone. And they get distracted. So by doing so, they're not accomplishing anything at all. Okay? And the other bad work habit is interruption. Now you get interrupted at work, I'm sure, right? People coming knocking on your door and say, could I have 5 minutes of your time, please? It's only 5 minutes, and then what happens? It leads to 20 minutes, it leads to 30 minutes, probably even an hour, right? But what happens to you? You have to start unwinding, you have to start reloading again and start all over again. Can you imagine if you're a CFO, you're a Chief Financial Officer, and you're trying to do some accounting, and someone came into the room and said, excuse me, could you help me? And then you're halfway calculating, and then what happens? You have to start all over again. Now, it could be the other party that's interrupting you. It could also be yourself that may be interrupting someone else. So that could be a bad work habit. So do you know then how to, react, or how do you prevent such bad habits from, occurring often in the work environment? Because it's actually affecting the workplace efficiency, right? And it actually creates some kind of a disrespect for individuals, because you're disrespecting someone else's time when you keep on interrupting that particular person. And then again, you talk about being disorganized. I'm sure you've also seen officers or CFOs, CEOs, that I've actually coached around the world. Some of them couldn't see the color of the desk because it's covered by all the materials. It's actually covered by, lots of papers and everywhere, and they call it organized mess. Have you heard of those? Yeah? So these are organized, messy people. When you ask them to look for something, they will start flipping around and looking for it, and they can't find those documents. And they said, maybe you didn't send it to me. So that's really, very natural. Now, research has actually shown that 6 weeks in a year, executives are actually losing out on time, trying to look for material. If you're talking in dollars and cents, that's a lot of money for the company. Because if you convert 6 weeks per year, that these senior executives are looking for materials, cannot find the emails that you sent to them, cannot find the documents that's sitting in there, and it happens. And that's because they have actually procrastinated. They don't know how to manage it, because it has actually reached a certain situation whereby it actually overwhelms them. When it overwhelms you, what do? You get very, very stressed. And what do? You're hoping that it will just go away, right? But it doesn't. It stays there and it keeps piling. Keeps piling, it keeps going up. And that's why people either give up, they collapse, they have depression, or they just cannot perform. And that's what affects the overall efficiency of the organization. And we're not talking about just, 1 or 2 people, we're talking about the entire organization. If you have 20 managers that lose 6 weeks in a year looking for things, you multiply it by 20. Can you imagine the numbers? If you are paying them $100 an hour, you multiply it by 6 weeks in a year, how much is the company losing out? These are really fundamental.